Luxury sedans have always been about more than comfort. They're about status, confidence, and what a car says about the person sitting inside it. For decades, one name owned that space almost uncontested: the Mercedes-Benz S-Class. But in 2026, something interesting is happening. A car that most people once ignored is now forcing serious buyers to pause, reconsider, and ask a dangerous question. Is the Genesis G90 actually good enough to challenge the S-Class? At first glance, the 2026 Genesis G90 doesn't try to shock you. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't rely on aggressive design or flashy gimmicks. Instead, it does something far more strategic. It feels calm, confident, and expensive in a way that doesn't need explanation. And that alone tells you a lot. The exterior design of the G90 is quiet luxury at its finest. Long, clean proportions, elegant lighting, a presence that feels deliberate rather than dramatic. This is a car that doesn't chase trends, it avoids them. On the road, it doesn't beg to be noticed, yet somehow it always is. That's not accidental, that's design maturity. Genesis understands something many brands forget. True luxury doesn't try to impress everyone. It's designed for people who already know what they want. Up close, the details matter. The lighting signature feels refined instead of aggressive. The grille looks premium without feeling oversized or desperate. The stance is balanced, dignified, and confident. It feels like a car that belongs in front of a five-star hotel without needing validation from the crowd. But the real shift happens when you step inside. The cabin of the 2026 Genesis G90 isn't about overwhelming you with technology. It's about making you feel settled, relaxed, in control. The materials feel rich without being flashy. The layout feels intentional, not experimental. Everything is where your hand expects it to be. The seats don't just feel soft, they feel thoughtfully engineered. Long-distance comfort is clearly a priority here. Heating, ventilation, and massage aren't just luxury checkboxes. They're tuned for real use. This is the kind of car that still feels comfortable after hours on the highway, not just during a showroom test drive. Noise isolation is exceptional. Road sound fades away. Wind noise becomes irrelevant. Even at speed, the cabin feels composed and calm. It creates a sense of separation from the outside world that few cars manage to achieve without feeling artificial. And then there's the rear seat, where Genesis quietly makes its strongest argument. The back of the G90 doesn't feel like an afterthought. It feels like a destination. Wide, comfortable seating, thoughtful controls, a layout designed for people who are used to being driven, not just passengers tagging along. This is where Genesis starts to feel dangerous to the S-Class. Because instead of competing feature for feature, Genesis focuses on how the space makes you feel. The rear cabin doesn't overwhelm you with screens or animations. It gives you calm, space, and control. The kind of environment where time slows down, where conversations feel quieter, where stress fades. That's real luxury. From the driver's seat, the G90 continues to surprise. This is not a performance sedan pretending to be luxurious. It's a luxury sedan that happens to be capable when you need it. The steering is smooth and predictable. The ride quality is composed, absorbing imperfections without disconnecting you from the road. Adaptive suspension works quietly in the background, doing its job without reminding you that it's there. This is engineering designed to be invisible, and that's a compliment. Power delivery is effortless, not aggressive, not dramatic, just smooth, confident acceleration when you ask for it. The G90 doesn't rush. It doesn't need to. It knows where it belongs. Technology inside the car follows the same philosophy. Everything works. Everything feels intuitive. Screens are clear, responsive, and well integrated, but they don't dominate the experience. You never feel like you're sitting inside a tablet on wheels. This matters more than people realize. Because luxury buyers don't want to fight their car. They want it to disappear into their routine. They want technology that supports them, not distracts them. And this is where Genesis shows real understanding of its audience. Now let's talk about something most reviews avoid: brand psychology. The S-Class has history, prestige, legacy. That's undeniable. But legacy can also become weight. Expectations get heavy. Innovation becomes risky. And sometimes the experience stops feeling personal. Genesis doesn't have that baggage. Buying a G90 in 2026 says something different. It says you value quality over tradition, experience over reputation, confidence over recognition. It signals that you didn't buy what everyone else buys, you bought what made sense to you. And that's powerful. In executive circles, that kind of choice stands out more than any other predictable badge. It creates curiosity, conversations, respect, not because it's louder, but because it's smarter. Ownership experience plays a huge role here too. Genesis has built its reputation on customer care, simpler ownership, fewer headaches, more transparency. For many buyers, that matters just as much as leather quality or screen size. Luxury isn't just how a car feels on day one, it's how it treats you over years of ownership. And this is where the G90 quietly earns loyalty. So, is it really an S-Class killer? That depends on what you believe luxury should be. If luxury is history, brand prestige, and tradition, the S-Class still holds strong. But if luxury is calm, confidence, thoughtful design, and modern ownership, the 2026 Genesis G90 makes a very serious case. It doesn't try to replace the S-Class. It offers an alternative philosophy, one that feels refreshingly honest, less theatrical, more human. The G90 isn't here to dominate headlines. It's here to win over people who are tired of paying extra for a name when what they really want is peace, comfort, and control. And that's why this question keeps coming up. Not because Genesis shouted louder, but because it delivered quietly. The 2026 Genesis G90 may not kill the S-Class overnight, but it does something arguably more impressive. It makes people question whether the S-Class is still the only answer. And in the luxury world, that's how revolutions begin.